Hi guys, James here. Welcome to Taboldi Goes Modelworks, and yep, we've got another inbox review for you. This is Airfix's 1/72 Bristol Beaufort Mk.1A scheme A04021A. So this is I believe the second iteration of the Beaufort they brought out, because obviously they had that wonderful shot of it torpedoing a ship in Taranto. Warning labels, cartograph decals, model design and tooling 2020, decal schemes and pack design 2024. On this side, not suitable for 8 years old. And this one says 159 pieces. 2 schemes for Australian. Well, you've got one that's Southeast Asia command, actually, it's not Australian. I do beg your pardon. And we've got the Scottish version, which has got the white camo, the white and I think it's slate grey or something like that camo there. Obviously the paints, 2 flying hours, skill level 2. Bit of stats there, length 186, width 244mm, pieces 159. Contents may vary from those illustrated. So there we go. Obviously important, very important, that bit. Very tightly boxed, tightly taped this is. So slide the box out. Again, all the sprues as per usual. Again, fortunately there's no bits out the back. Give it a shaped chest. Get the instructions out, that's the important bit. I think we'll open the bag here and then look through the instructions as per normal. There we go. One of those in the box for safekeeping. Again, nice folded A4 instruction booklet. Again, the decals are in the back. Little bit of history there. Important to get the old that bit in the screen there. Obviously assembly icons. So obviously that's most important. Obviously if you're going to have the torpedo fitted, drill out those holes. Then we're straight on to building up the wing spar, very much akin to the Bristol Blenheim. So yeah, it's a common ancestry. Building up the rear spar, building up the front spar, putting some of the cockpit greebles there, showing it how the alignment goes there on that part. Fitting the instrument panel cockpit floor, fitting the seats, instrument panel, again nice big decal sheet, fitting the old the control yoke, fitting up the seat for the 1A / navigator there. Most important, the portaloo, very important part in the plane, that is. Fitting up the glazing. Obviously you've got the choice of putting that door out in, or putting the gun, setting that with a gun. Then fitting one side of the fuselage to the oh yes, there's 78 there. I'll let them off. Then fit that one side of the fuselage in there. Again, fitting up some more greeblies in there. I think that's the floor for the bomb aimer. Bits for the rear undercarriage, fitting in a window, fitting in another bulkhead in place. Again, you've got the option of painting the figure, and then fitting the other side of the fuselage on that side. Again, putting on the base of the gun turret, fairing of the gun turret, putting in some bits of the torpedo bay, and then we're marching forward. We've got the wings, so landing lights, doing those two halves together and then sliding those wings on. Hopefully they're a good fit, because obviously you won't fit the wings in place, because most of the options you've got to paint them. Tailplane, rudder. Unfortunately the tailplane isn't posable, but obviously the by the looks of it the flaps are. Building up the undercarriage here. So I've got a feeling this part is actually in the engine nacelles. Building up the engine nacelles, plonking them on. Building up the engine intakes, two different versions of it. Building up the engine. Obviously cowl flaps open, or cowl flap. It's got cowl flaps open. No, it's got cowl. Yeah, I've only got the one version. Interesting for that. Fitting the engines on, and then it comes to the part that requires a lot of care and attention. Fitting the glazing. So obviously you have to use something like glue and glaze or crystal clear. Obviously fitting the canopies, fitting the canopy on, side window, nose window, and the bit underneath. So you've got to take your time fitting those to get it fit nicely. Then obviously bomb bay door, because they have that closed or have them open if you've got carrying the torpedo. Obviously it says fit the torpedo at a later stage on step C-Step 97 on page 16. Obviously removing the bits of the panel that you don't need for those bits. So you have it all closed up when you have the torpedo fitted. Then we've got the wheels up version to be done. Fitting the tail wheel. Obviously building up bits of the undercarriage for the support legs. It does look complicated, the undercarriage, but I seem to remember on the blending it went together quite easily. I mean, my blending is still sitting on this undercarriage several years later, so it's credit to the design. And then yeah, undercarriage doors. Obviously showing how they're located on there. That's good. The wheels of these, obviously they're weight on wheels. So obviously steps 76 you do a lot sooner than you build up the rest of the undercarriage, because obviously you stick those together, let it dry, and then deal with any seams. Okay. Again, yeah, you've got to fit those pieces after you fit the undercarriage, so those bits go on. Fit some drain valves, I think they're, or drain exhausts, or whatever they are. Fitting an aerial. Fitting another vent there. Again, we starting to build up the gun turret. And I know it looks quite intimidating, but it's quite straightforward. So it's 2 Lewis machine guns, I think they are. Obviously painting the bicycle seat so it's brown. And then fitting the turret. Obviously building up the torpedo. Oh, I see. So you've got to ignore the steps earlier. So you've got to put the mounting rack in for the torpedo. There. Put an aerial on there. Putting the wingtip navigation lights on. Landing lights. Putting on some aerials. Building up the props. Fitting another machine gun in that one if you've got that door open. And that's it. And we've got 2 versions. The 2 versions of the kit. So that one's the Australian or the East Asian Ceylon. So it's dark green over matte light grey. Looks a little bit different, that version, especially with those roundels. A few decals, not many. And then the Castle Kennedy version in Scotland. Again, why I hope that if you choose to do this version, you got to do extra dark sea grey on it over white, so you don't want to put the wings on. That'd be quite a fun one to paint, I think. This version would be quite a fun one to paint. Again, no stencil sheet, so we've got a flightly. A few decals on that version. And obviously the decal sheet. Does exactly what it says on the tin. Does look absolutely gorgeous. It's very fine decals. No sort of like overly carrier film on them. Very nice. So I'll put that back inside there where it's sat. Plonk that in the box. And then we'll very carefully get an awful lot of sprues out of the bag. Hell of a lot of sprues. Yikes, that is a lot of sprues. Put the bag down there. Actually, we'll take a break from a slightly bit of a diversion here. We'll open the clear sprue first. We'll have a look at that because it's different. So this is the F sprue. It's an older style one because it hasn't got the big F on it. That's got some release agent on it there. A little bit of a scratch on there, but you won't notice when it's masked up. Again, you can get a masking set for this one, or you've got the option of cutting out the masking for that one. It's fun, honest stuff. So, next sprue out is the D sprue. Again, this has your parts for your undercarriage, machine guns, bits of the interior, a little bit of sink there. Quite understandable because you've got a big chunk there. Nothing you can't deal with. Actually, that won't be noticeable in there because that's where the seats and that go. Tiny little bit of flash on this part here. Nice undercarriage wheel. Bits of the torpedo. There are the props. Bit of the gun. Yeah, so this one tends to, I think this is the one, because it's an earlier kit, they tend to jump over the place with the sprues. Again, this one has the engine cowlings, the engines, engine fairing, props, and the wing spars. Sprue C obviously has the Bombay here. Again, the 3 holes you've got to drill. Obviously this part we've got to cut out, so not a problem. There we go. Frame B. Again, it has a little bit of flash on the ejector pins, on the bits, which is understandable because they need to get the parts out. Nice fabric detail on the flaps, or the ailerons I should say. Obviously instrument cab detail, that the instrument panel there, that looks nice. Very nice too. Put it back in. Put it out. Get it on the right order, you twerp. So this is the A sprue. Again, nice protection on there for those wingtips. Hopefully, well, that one didn't work very well, did it? Pair of tweezers. There we go. They mean well. Nice detail on the inside there. Nice rendition of the fabric for obviously the control surface there. Two different turrets there. Bits of the undercarriage. That's for the folded undercarriage wheels. Does weight on wheels. And that's that side done. And finally, it's the wings and the flappage. So this sprue is definitely oily. You can see that. But again, the recognisable Bristol wings on this side. So that's an inbox review of Airfix's Bristol Beaufort Mk.1A. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and bye for now.